Anyway, for the people who want this completion paper, you will have to send it to me, the answers. Okay? So, and in what you need to tick off, I can't remember exactly all the things are there, but I think the 11 points we did. Genresic we're going to do now. And there's also animal liberation, which you will do also in a group. It's a very nice thing to do. One buys animals that are sure to be fed to somebody or to die. So you're not just, collect, all the animals are sure to die, the same as us. But in Switzerland we buy worms that would otherwise go on the hook, fishing hook.
We buy crickets.
You buy crickets here that would be fed to reptiles.
How's it cricket?
And it's not just to liberate from the dangers of being eaten by reptiles, because they will be eaten by birds more or less. Right? The main thing is that you have them in where you are, you make an altar, and you carry them around the altar. Now, if I would have to tell my schoolmates what I'm doing, certain things I'm very reluctant of telling them what I'm doing, because they wouldn't understand. But so we're not doing it just to save their lives, because saving lives of human beings is a bit difficult. But saving lives of these small creatures, and on top of it, you can save a lot of lives for very little money. Yeah. If anybody wants to have a cow or a sheep or a goat, we can go and buy it from the butcher, but you have to keep it until it dies. So we can buy bigger things, but it's no point buying something when you know exactly they're not going to survive. One point we bought pigeons from the Arabs because they eat them, and then we released them in I think it was in Palmo or somewhere. So you can, or chickens, at one point we bought like 200 small chickens like this. We went to the place where they throw them away. So we went to buy them, and we gave them to a guy who has a farm, is in the north somewhere, for abandoned animals, and it was so sweet. There's one hen, she adopted all 200, and she was walking around only with her kind of wings out, and very proud, and they were sitting on her wings and on her back and running after her.
It's a Buddha.
Yeah, it was quite amazing. And then when they were a bit bigger, he would give them to the small, these small zoos they have in the kibbutz up there for the Yeah. Now I don't know of how many of these chicken also ended up, it was caught like it was males. I don't know how many of those ended up in the pot also. But the males, the main thing is that you do the practice for them so that on their body they create some positive imprints. So you're doing it for them. You recite mantras, you blow in water, then you kind of spray them, you carry them around the altar. It's very innocent, the whole thing, and what harm can it do? And who knows, when we are maybe reborn as a worm and end up in a fishery shop, maybe somebody will do that practice for us so that we remember our karmic imprints when we die. So this is the thing. If they die immediately, it's not so terrible. The main thing is that you do the practice with them. It's not just buying them and then releasing them. The main thing, the most important thing is creating virtue for them on the basis of their body. So here now we come, Sarah, you wanted to ask something?
There is a farm, which is a liberation farm. We can purchase bigger animals.
When will it take? Let's talk about it later. Okay. Good. A good idea. Okay, let's talk about it.
We can buy a cow.
Let's talk about it. It's a good idea.
Yeah, you can discuss it, what you want to buy. Cricket, something easy is good also, because you have to bring the animal to the room where the altar is, and then do the practice of to put the table with the objects outside, leaving them around, letting them around. Like in Bulgaria, we liberate goats, for example, and there's one person who's looking after the goats and bringing them out, bring them back in the evening. So if you have something like that, then that's fine. It's not easy, because also in Vienna they wanted to liberate lambs, and they asked to give it to. They said we give it to this one person, and we give the money, because then you need to give him the money for their food until they die. So then the woman said, "Oh, but they're also females, so I can breed with them." So you go like, "No, you don't want to breed more sheep," but. So then it's difficult. It's really difficult to know. So crickets, something you can release into nature, that is easiest. But of course, if you have something bigger where you, maybe because with this big vegan kind of movement,
there's a farm which is
yeah, exactly. So this is what you can do.
We will talk about
Yeah.
it. But we have to take it to the altar and to do.
Yeah, you take the altar there, and you can take the other animals also and go walk around with them. Why not? Ask them if it's okay.
Let's see.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a nice idea. Then you do it for all the animals who are there, not just for those ones. Very good idea. So when we recite, this is the Refuge Bodhichitta daily meditation on forearm chenrezig. So it's a tantric practice. So what one is trying to do is one tries to bring the outer Buddha in connection with our inner Buddha. This is what we're trying to do. I don't have so much time to explain, but how many people have never done any of these things before? Okay, so then be very careful. Well, you know, you're familiar with this maybe, so, but be very careful. For those who are hearing this really for the first time, maybe just listen and don't go too much into, oh, this is this, this is this, this is this. Because it's quite strange. So, and especially if you have, because it's religious, okay? Here we do say prayers kind of thing. And we do visualizations and we do mantras. So, I don't know how you will feel with this. If you don't feel good, don't do it. No need. If you want to, just try it out, because you know, if you're reasonable, you can say, what harm does it do if I say these words, if I do the visualization, if I say these mantras? If you have a very strong connection to your own religion, which is this one God that says, I'm not so happy if you go off to somebody else, then maybe don't do it. You know, just don't do it. It's fine. Yeah?
I say when I do the puja, I say that we're not making prayers, we're only connecting to an energy.
Yeah. But it sounds like prayers for somebody who has never done it. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, this is also because whenever we see something written and we recite and fold our hands, immediately what comes up in the mind? Prayer. And people say, I don't want to pray. That's fine for me. I don't want to force people to pray. Okay? So it's quite short. It's to purify our negative karma, and you see the visualization is that you have light coming from that figure. We don't have a chenrezig, eh? But not it's yet. Okay. It's okay. Just is it in the front? Yeah. Okay. That's the forearm chenrezig. It's the Buddha of compassion. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, just by reciting, you know, this is the power of a Buddha, practicing for like eons of lifetimes, then they have power in the mind, so that when we recall these Buddhas, we recite their mantras through the speech and all this, we also are infused with that kind of energy. So it says, whoever, when you recite this mantra, whoever sees you, whoever touches you, whoever kind of thinks about you, then they also get some benefit from it, okay? Of course, not as much benefit as when we visualize chenrezig, but this is why we want to become Buddhas. So we serve as a base when we do these kind of practices for us to wake up that potential. Because, you know, if I visualize Nissim and then I have light coming from Nissim's heart, or he visualizes me, I mean, probably not much will happen. Yeah? Whereas if we visualize this translucent figure, which we know is the embodiment of compassion, then it touches something in us that we intellectually we don't have access to. So with tantric, with these kind of practices, you just have to let it happen. You say what it says, you visualize, you say the mantra, finish. You don't need to go any further than that. This is what is nice about sadhana practice. It says what you have to say, it says what you have to think, it says what you have to visualize, finished. Huh?
It's a practice manual.
It's a manual, how to attain enlightenment with these kind of practices. Yeah. Of course, if you have what we did today, then it's bodhicitta. Now you know what bodhicitta is, how to develop it. It becomes much more powerful. The more you have devotion, and that's another touchy word, the more you have devotion to the Buddha and the practice, the better that channel, you know, where the light comes, the more it holds. Otherwise, it's a bit leaky, I think, if there's no devotion. But if you're afraid of doing this, or if you think that's really weird, fine, don't do it. Okay? But also have, now talking about tolerance, have the tolerance for other people who do it, who know and who want to do it. So it's their business. Okay? Is that okay? Okay. So we just do it, and then maybe if there's questions at the end, I can take them. Because it's not complicated. This is the thing. If you don't want to know how does it work, then it becomes complicated. But you don't need to know. It's like same as medicine. If you want to know what is in the medicine, how it works, where it was produced, who produced it, before you swallow it, well, you die before you swallow the medicine. Yeah, you see, somebody gives you a pill, poof, we take it. That's much more dangerous than to do these things. Okay. Page 3. Again, Refuge Bodhichitta, I talked to you what to think. Why are we doing this? Because we want to get out of samsara for the benefit of all sentient beings. How are we going to do this? With the methods of the Buddha. So it's kind of a disgust with samsara, but also trust in the methods that it will work. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By merit that I create from giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By merit that I create from giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By merit that I create from giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Then to open up our heart in love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, it's these next verses. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings not be separated from higher rebirth and the bliss of liberation. May all sentient beings abide in the state of equanimity, free from attachment and hatred, free from holding some close and others distance. Now, the special refuge is when you do tantric practices, because you understand with this perfection vehicle, like practicing 6 perfections, they will last a long time. This is why you combine the 6 perfections with visualizing the Buddha, the light coming into you, and if you have initiation, then you rise as the Buddha. And for that you need a guru, so that you can fuse the Buddha with the deity that you're practicing. Otherwise it becomes something very theistic. Yeah? And you also need to think, I'm doing this because I want to attain that state. So theistic is like, please help me, but I will never be as good as you. This is, here's the deity, I want to become like you. I'm doing this right now by dissolving my what is called 5 contaminated aggregates, by letting go of what I think I am, and then coming up as something different, meaning already fully enlightened. So for some people that sounds like heresy, but this is the goal, is to become a Buddha. To my root guru, the quintessence of all refuge objects, I go for refuge. Please bless my mind with your transforming powers. To my root guru, the quintessence of all refuge objects, I go for refuge. Please bless my mind with your transforming powers. To my root guru, the quintessence of all refuge objects, I go for refuge. Please bless my mind with your transforming powers. So of course, if you haven't found your guru yet, you can still have a yearning in your heart to have one, because if you don't have a living guru, these practices become very shallow and very external, kind of funny, strange thing. There's not this unification with the guru's mind and the Buddha's mind cannot happen, I think.
If your guru passed away?
That's okay, he's still around. There's no problem. He's still there. He only passed away, only this form died, but his mind, his Buddha mind is still around. But you can still, when you visualize him the way you knew him, because our mind needs a form sometimes. Energy is not enough. Then you visualize on the crown of my head, seated upon a white lotus in the moon disk, is the protector, my root guru, Chen Resig. He is white in color and has 1 face and 4 arms. The first two hands are joined together at his heart, holding a wish-fulfilling gem. His second right hand holds a crystal rosary, while his second left hand holds a white lotus. He's seated in cross-legged Vajra posture, clothed in fine silk garments. He's adorned with precious ornaments. The syllables Om, Ah, and Hum at his three places are a white Om at the crown, or at the front, a red Ah in his throat, a blue Hum in his heart, shows that he's fully enlightened. Emit light that invites Guru Chandresik from his natural abode, means we don't believe that this Chandresik, which is actually our Guru, is really there. So we invite the enlightened energy to enter that visualization, to give it life, kind of. Guru Chandresik dissolves into the Guru Chandresik on my crown, who becomes the essence of the three refuges. So actually on your head now is the perfect doctor that can give you the perfect cure, and in a very quick way. This is how we should feel. Totally protected, totally safe, totally wishing to become a doctor that can help beings in such a good way. To purify negative karma, to create some positive one, we go into the 7 limbs. I prostrate with body, speech, and mind in faith. Each and every offering I make, including those really performed and those mentally transformed, I confess all negativities collected from beginningless life in samsara. I rejoice in the virtuous actions of all ordinary and noble beings. Please Buddha, by living as our guide until samsara ends, reveal the teachings to all sentient beings. I dedicate my own virtues and those of all others to the great enlightenment. You offer the mandala. You offer a perfect universe that the Buddha is able to manifest. We don't see it because we don't have the right karma. Our mind is too much like solid, gross, materialized. This is why we can't see these subtle things. But now we offer it. So we show our faith, our trust, that it's possible to have a perfect universe. And by offering it to Guru Chandresik, then we create a lot of virtue, a lot of merit. By the virtue of offering to you, assembly of Buddhas, visualize before me this mandala, built on a base resplendent with flowers, saffron water and incense, and adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. May all beings share in its good effects. So we want to be able to manifest this Pure Land so that beings can enjoy it. Idam Guru Rana Mandalakam Niryatayami. What it means, it says here, I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Then, prostration and praise to Chandresik, to Arya Chandresik, whose body is pure white, unstained by defilements, whose head is adorned by the fully enlightened Buddha Amitabha, to you who gaze upon all sentient beings with eyes of boundless compassion, I prostrate. So you know, if you have problems prostrating with the body, you prostrate with the speech by saying the praise. Yeah? Or with the mind by appreciating. But actually the visualization would be, you visualize prostrating and all your previous bodies from all your previous lifetimes are also prostrating in order to purify negativities of the body. And you think all sentient beings of the whole universe around us also prostrate. Then if you are open to this, you visualize from the Chandresik on your crown, so it comes straight down, it's quite easy, a stream of the 5 kinds of nectar, white, red, blue, yellow and green. So what it symbolizes the 5 wisdoms. Pours from the heart of Chandresik and enters the crown of my head. The nectar purifies all delusions, obscurations and their latencies, and I receive all the blessings. So actually this is maybe a little bit difficult to visualize. Here's just nectar, it's okay. So then we can recite the long mantra, but we will do the short one. Om Mani Padme Hum. So it's very simple mantra, so you can actually keep the visualization plus reciting the mantra, so it's quite easy. We chant it a few times together, then we recite silently. As it happens, you think that everything that is bothering you, everything that makes you heavy, solid, afraid, whatever, leaves your body through your lower doors, being pushed out by these 5 colored nectar. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme. It's a bit deep, eh? Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. So as best as you can, you keep the visualization and you recite silently, but still you move your lips under your breath. Om Mani Padme Hum. What it means? Om is like body, speech, mind of a Buddha. Mani is the jewel. Padme is the lotus. Hum, may the blessing of this mantra take roots in my oh no, Hum is the wisdom, sorry, it's not so hard. So anyway, it just means the jewel in the lotus. Hum is the combination of the method and the wisdom. Like money is the method and the Padme, the lotus, is the wisdom. So the combination or the unification of these two is represented by the Hum. So you're not saying anything like strange, you're just saying, here I have the jewel who is in the lotus on the top of my crown. By visualizing these 5 lights coming into myself and purifying the delusions and the hindrances for my practice, I allow that light to come in. May I be purified very quickly and become a Buddha. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 So I know it's not explicitly in the sadhana, but this is very much part of the practice. So you see your body is becoming hollow, body is becoming translucent as this light is coming in. So you think you dissolve all the solidity, all this heaviness, like bones, blood, flesh, everything. You keep your form though. And then as this light is 5-colored light is filling the body, you think that it's streaming out to all other sentient beings. Like we include them in our meditation, also from Chandrasek's heart, the light is going out to all sentient beings. From our body, from our heart, this light is going out. And you can maybe, as you recite the mantra, visualize that you are, for example, giving them teachings of the Lam Rim, so that they can also know how to purify, how to create merit, how it brings them relief, happiness, well-being, and especially this purification. Same way as we purified, like we start to feel spacious, free of all this that burdens us, like the suffering and the causes, the negative emotions. And you think this is happening to all the beings around you while you recite the mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani And then also, if you can't visualize Chandrasekhar on your crown, just have the conviction that something is there. That kind of unification of compassion and wisdom was the skillful means to inspire you and to help us purify negative karma. If we are able to let go these karmic imprints that result in, if you keep these imprints, it results in more suffering and more creating negative habits that create more suffering. Try to see how this really leaves the body. The body, becomes less heavy and becomes a body of light. The light radiates out to all beings. That's the purpose or the action of a Buddha, sending these purifying light rays. So we're doing that right now. Om Mani Padme Hum. And then you just think, how would it be to be totally free of any of these dachas, any of these impulses that push me to do things that I don't really want to do? How would it be to have a heart totally open towards all sentient beings, 24 hours a day, to have the skillful means to knowing when to step back because they can figure it out themselves so that they can grow, when to interfere, a mind that is totally fearless, totally equanimous, totally loving, totally compassionate, and totally wise. So you kind of just pretend that this has happened right now, because the potential is there. We just don't know it. Okay, then again, we are very aware that we're not there yet, so we need to say that request. So again, it's another way of connecting. We request something. It's on page 7. Praise to the beautiful four-armed Lord of the world, sublime embodiment of emanating from the unity of all the victorious ones of the three times, possessor of all knowledge and holder of the lotus, your immaculate feet beautifully ornament my crown. May the karmic pollution of myself and others be washed away by the cool tear of your compassion, great loving protector. Sole refuge of pitiful transmigratory beings who have no guide, you generated Bodhichitta first and then reached the extreme limit. O merciful one, please behold with your compassionate eye the beings of the evil gone caught in realms difficult to escape. experiencing the individual results of evil actions as hell beings or pretas, amongst animals, asuras, and so on. Behold with compassion the thoughtless ones who return empty-handed. Even their high rebirth was without meaning. Their human bodies were so rare and fragile, but their lives were consumed only in suffering. Amidst their endless actions, the Lord of Death arrived. Behold with compassion tough-skinned beings like me, who maintain a religious manner but do not achieve the great meaning, being overwhelmed by attachment, hatred, and the eight worldly concerns, without having subdued our minds by observing cause and result. With compassion, please lead those without refuge on the path, for when their vision of this life fades, the vision of their self-created karma arises as the enemy in the bardo, and they are taken on a precipitous route by Yama's messenger. Look upon us with compassion, O Lama Chandresik, Mother attached by compassion to all sentient beings, who is the special sole refuge of the snowland. May I and all others quickly attain your state of enlightenment. Then we go back to page 6 to do the dedication. May I quickly become Arya Chandresik and lead all sentient beings to his enlightened realm. May the precious body-mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. May all our teachers, especially His Holiness the Dalai Lama, then, connected to this center, is the spiritual guide of this center, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and all other teachers teaching the true path to lasting happiness and away from suffering. May they all have very, very long, stable minds, and may they teach us until samsara ends. And then we dedicate with an awareness of emptiness. May the I, who doesn't exist from its own side, quickly attain enlightenment, who does not exist from its own side, in order to benefit all sentient beings who do not exist from their own side, as quickly as possible by myself alone. Such is the power of my aspiration, for as long as space exists, as long as sentient beings endure, so long will I remain to alleviate the suffering of all these beings. Then we can think about Tibet as another country who is not totally free. May by these merits that we have created, may the Chinese government give some autonomy to this area so that the Tibetans can go back to their country and practice their religion and culture freely without having to be afraid, so that it can prevail, it can continue, because we have all these practices thanks to the Tibetans. Then may there be peace in the world, may people come to their senses, may the powerful, may they be able also to connect to their compassion and wisdom, so that they use their power not for profit, but for the environment and for sentient beings. May wherever there is natural disaster, terrorism, wars, conflict, may aid quickly get to these places, and also may these difficulties stop by the power of the virtues that we have created. Thank you very much. So, we have 2 more minutes for questions, if you have questions about the sadhana. Do you have questions? This is not so important. Do you have questions? It's all clear with the sadhana, or so unclear that there's not even questions. It can be both ways. Do we have somebody in the middle? I know if you see, this is very difficult. I know, because one comes into Buddhism, thinks, well, this is not a religion because it has no creator God, And then the Tibetans, they have all these images and all these things and all these rituals and this and this and that. And then our aversion towards religion comes up. And then we're blocked. So how to deal with this in a very beneficial way, I don't know. Just stop criticizing religions and rituals. That's the best way for you to be able to open. Because, you know, I know people, they would love to be open. They cannot be open. They try to do these things. I see they get terribly angry in the middle of it and then they storm out. So it's quite sad. So let's, you know, you can prevent that by stopping religious practices from whatever tradition they are. How they work, I don't know. But I do it because I trust my teachers, and also I've been doing them for 25 years, and I see that they do work. They definitely work, and they work much. You see, developing concentration, shamatha, is very difficult. Understanding emptiness is very difficult. Saying mantras, very easy. And when I kind of get up from my meditation, there's always some little aspect of discontent of not having put enough effort into it. Emptiness also, I kind of confused, I don't understand. This, when I do what it says here, I know I do it the right way. So then it's a sense of satisfaction. Yeah, it's a very good, it's a framework to put the mind in and to visualize all these things. But I know it's especially for Israelis, this is so difficult to be open to these very, very powerful practices. So maybe from your side, just check, you know, where is this resistance coming from? What am I afraid of? So maybe you find that, and then it will dispel. Maybe it will never dispel. So then again, don't force yourself to do these things. It's no point. You have enough things to practice without doing these things. It's fine. But then don't get jealous about the others who are open towards it, who have that devotion and that trust and that faith. Because it's this kind of faith that you need is enough faith so that you do it with an open mind. That's enough. It's not blind faith, but it's the faith or trust that says, okay, let me try this, see what happens. It's enough. And then the working is not because you believe in it or you do it. The working, it works because you do it. Yeah? This constant connection with our own potential that we have, to open it, to remember it, to remind ourselves, to send out the light. Yeah? So, good luck with these kind of things, because there's a lot of them with Lama Zopa Rinpoche.
We would like to make an offering.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And thank you
You're very
for
welcome.
your teachings,
Yeah.
which come from your heart.
Yeah, more than from the head, unfortunately.
Well, something that comes from the heart
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Okay, you need both though, yeah? You're
Yeah, I
aware
know
of that.
we need both,
Mm.
but we need to develop the heart.
Also.
We feel the art very strongly.
Yeah. But don't get too emotional. It's like, again, like, don't forget the
It's
head.
empty. You're empty from my own side. The teaching is
So
Don't worry.
again, you're Israelis, you have advantage because you have a lot of heart, but you also have a lot of intelligence, and you want to know, you explore. But there's certain things that with this box here, we cannot know. So these kind of practices, they try to connect us to a more subtle level of mind, where we don't need concepts and we don't need words. This is why we use colors and syllables. Yeah? For visualization and forms. And also, Khandro Rinpoche, at one point, he was in France when she was doing Chenrezig retreat, and people also, how does with this? She said, look, stop, because you're doing exactly the wrong thing. You are trying these subtle methods, you're trying to bring them up in your gross mind, so it will remain at the level of the gross mind. Just do it and allow the mind to become more subtle, then you will understand what this is all about. So if you trust the people that tell you these things, you continue to do it until you feel that connection, my potential with the already developed potential of Chenrezig, in this case, the Buddha of compassion outside. Okay?
So I was right or wrong?
What?
Right. You're right.
You were right. Yeah.
You're right.
Okay, thank you, Shuki. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
That was organized organizing, and
Of
Shuki
course.
and Tal, and everybody is organizing it.
Nissim for the flowers.
Yeah,
Anina for the
anybody
teachings.
for the good
Oti
biscuits
Ban-
here.
Oti for the
Oti for the biscuits,
So many
you
people.
for coming,
Everyone for coming.
and especially for your questions and comments. Thank you very much, because
And
otherwise it
Nitzan
becomes
for
very
the
boring.
photography
Yeah.
and helper.
And the people who built this building, the people, the architects, then the parents of those, and especially all our teachers, because I wouldn't know anything without my teachers. Really, I could tell you nice and funny stories, but then that's about it.
And the monks from Sarah who sent us this tanka.
The monks from Zero sent my tray already here, so
Today,
perfect.
Today is Manjushri.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't look.
Me too, I didn't look at them.
So,
Today is Manjushri. They look the same
Okay,
color.
yeah, they're the same color. Okay.
Thank you.
So then if you want to know more about these 5 colors and 5 wisdoms and all this, you learn this as you go along. Try not to bite off too big pieces, okay? Because otherwise you get, it's all up in the head, and then the heart is missing actually. Take whatever you can. You don't need to know everything at the same time. And try also not to, there's one word you don't understand, immediately the mind goes there. It's okay, Like the 3 kinds of morality, you know it or you don't know it. Not so big deal. Just work with the things that you already know instead of these details. Those are not so important. Yeah. Okay. But thank you very much for practicing. You will make the world a nicer place through your practice. Even if you are not nicer to other people, but when you do these purification practices, you purify your negative karma. So people do not create more negative karma with you by harming you. So already that is a good thing. Yeah. Whether you then become nicer or not, this is another question. But already that, You think you have become nicer, Miri?
Yes.
Did you? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'm sure I become nicer. I become.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and I don't think we are not nice to other people. It depends.
Well,
But
let's
they-
not
but
go
we
into
don't-
that. This is very
Yeah,
personal,
Sure, yeah.
This is very personal. You might think you're very nice, but then the other person
No, I
might think,
don't
oh, what a
we
pain in the
agree.
neck. I don't know.
Always places
This is very, very personal.
Yes.
This thing of being nice. I'm talking about individuals here,
Yes.
Okay.
I'm nice, I'm not.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
very much.
Shavua Tov, Chag Sameach.